I'm Kristal Hart, and welcome to the Smithsonian National Postal Museum in Washington, D.C., where the U.S. Postal Service unveils the new holiday cheer forever stamps. These stamps capture the magical moments of the season, as well as a new generation of holiday cards and letters. Michael Elston, and from Labor Relations.
The U.S. Postal Service, yes.
And we have these holiday cheer stamps. Now, could you tell us the inspiration behind them?
Sure. I think the artist was inspired by wanting to do something traditional yet contemporary, so she used a unique form of art to cut these images out of magazines and then reassemble them, use gouache to make them look acrylic, and assemble them into these wonderful designs so that they're both traditional yet also contemporary.
And we have 4 designs here, correct?
Yes, as you can see, there are flowers, amaryllis flowers, a traditional wreath, cardinals, and berries and fruit, the kinds of things that you need to sustain yourself during the long winter months and have a little bit of holiday cheer.
And how do you think this will lift up the spirits of mailing in the Postal Service and letters?
Well, I think they just add to the lifting of spirits that holiday greetings bring to family and friends. When you get a card in the mail from someone that you know well or someone you haven't heard from for a while, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel better that they remembered you during the holidays. And that's a wonderful thing about our tradition in this country of sending holiday cards and greetings. And this stamp just adds a little bit of fun and a little bit of beauty to those cards.
You know, and just lastly, tell us about the educational of coming to these stamp ceremonies with the education.
Well, we're very lucky today to be at the National Postal Museum, which is part of the Smithsonian, and this is a fantastic place for kids to learn about not only stamps, but the mail system, the history of the mail system. Of course, Benjamin Franklin, our first Postmaster General, is featured in one of the exhibits, and we're just very lucky to have this in Washington. And today, they've done a great thing with little stations for kids to learn about different things and to do some hands-on activities. So we've got a great set of young people who are learning about stamps today.
Okay, so everybody go out and mail a letter today. The holidays are coming. You know, it's funny, I just had somebody who hadn't seen me and they said, well, I haven't received a holiday card from you lately, so they didn't know.
You better get on that, and you can use these stamps. You look like you're ready for the holiday season right now.
I'm ready. It's like my favorite time of year.
All right, very good. Merry Christmas early.
And happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
With this Toby Mensforth, and we are at the Smithsonian National Postal Museum here in Washington, D.C., and we have a special event. But first, tell me we had a stamp ceremony, the unveiling. What do you feel the educational value of these stamp ceremonies are?
Oh my goodness, they extend our educational outreach and lifelong learning to all our audiences, whether it's online or here at the museum. Each new stamp brings with it a heritage and a legacy that we can put out the educational value to it, or the history, which is the most important, of the stamp, and why the artist chose it, and why the art director chose it, and what the images represent. So we're thrilled to be able to bring that legacy to the United States Postal Service and the Smithsonian, and doing that outreach.
And you know, it's real special today because I see all these tables, and it's set up for the different families and children. Tell the audience.
We have a wonderful team here that is education, but also visitor services. So our whole team is here, and they've dedicated themselves at different tables to either do the art of the stamp, which is drawing a stamp or recreating the stamps you see behind us from the first day of issue here, or it's learning about stamps that are going to be recreated by the Postal Service for public distribution. And then there's just some fun games that are all based around bingo, for example, stamp bingo, or going around the museum and identifying historical people from history, but also historical characters or representations of actual historical vehicles that we collect here at the museum. So it's a wonderful day for families and people of all ages.
And that is one thing that the Smithsonian National Post Office is known for, is having a lot of events for families and children.
This is our I hate to say it, our bread and butter. This is what we do. We love having families here, and family days really, we see strollers, we see young kids just learning how to read who are learning literacy on our exhibits, or teens who are really getting into how a postal service and how communication works, and then all the way up through college. Most of our volunteers are college age or seniors, and they bring a whole dynamic to the conversation of what education is. It's wonderful.
So if you're in Washington, D.C., it is right across from Union Station. Here, the Amtrak pulls right in. You go right across the street, so come visit.
Come on down. It's right on top of the metro station. You can access our museum or all the Smithsonian wonderful museums. Come anytime.
And
Thank you.
get on the mailing list.
And get on our mailing list. It's on our website. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Stamps are miniature pieces of art. And next up, we visit an art gallery in New York City. We're here at Amsterdam Whitney Art Gallery in Chelsea, New York. With us is the owner, Ruthie Tucker. Ruthie, tell us a little bit about this show.
Kristal, I am so delighted to have you here, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We give you an autumnal welcome here in Chelsea at Amsterdam Whitney Gallery. We're celebrating our 23rd anniversary here at Chelsea, and we felt that John Peters' work, Gems of the Forest, so personifies the love of nature, the love of the environment, the beautiful colors. It really inaugurates the Chelsea art season. We have a cornucopia of riches here of art like John Peters' landscape, abstract, figurative, sculpture, and it's a very exciting exhibit with international and national artists. So we are delighted to have you all here. Also, we have a wonderful internationalist point of view from Yvonne Gallagher, that she's doing the skyscrapers and the city line of New York, which also inaugurates the love of New York. And we have the wonderful artist Freddie Cohn, whose beautiful sculptural wall hangings personify and emblematize the magnificence of nature, of creativity, of women's views. We have Pierre Geist, who's in from France. We have Roderick Owen, who's also in from France. We have, John is one of our wonderful US artists.
I'm using in this series gems, jewels, rubies, emeralds, diamonds as inspiration for the foliage on these trees. And that's why it's called Gems of the Forest series.
Gems of the Forest. And how did you come up with this idea?
I had a friend who's a jeweler who's been very sick, and my wife and I did a book on his 3,800 pieces of jewelry creations, and during the process of doing the book, I got the idea of taking some of the gems and putting them on trees.
And I'm delighted to be back in New York to talk about my wildflower paintings, which I was inspired by these beautiful, it's called a wild bloom flowers, because of all the rains in the desert, and then that spring all the wildflowers pop open. And this painting here was done is in my studio, and is from a photograph of the desert wildflowers, sunflowers actually, in La Quinta area, Borrego Springs, California. And I went in the afternoon, early morning, and the shadows were casting in the sand, and then the mountains in the background, and the orange flowers against the blue sky, and I was just totally inspired to paint these beautiful flowers. Again, this is Borrego Springs, California, the super bloom of flowers in the springtime. It was just absolutely spectacular. The yellows and the pinks and the whites, it was absolutely beautiful. And I was inspired to paint this painting by all the beautiful flowers in nature, and the desert landscape is just very close to my heart because I live down there in the wintertime. So that's my wildflower painting from La Quinta. And this is another painting I did of the super bloom sunflowers. And again, the orange and the blue radiates and reflects the light and casts these beautiful shadows in the morning light. when I think it's the best time to capture the flowers when they're open, when the first sun in the morning casts its shadows in the sand. And the fourth one is La Cucina Italiana, and this is from a trip to Italy that I took. And I peeked into the kitchen at a restaurant we were attending, and this is the scene I saw with the two chefs cooking and preparing food in Montalcino, Italy.
May I introduce to you a celebutante, one of Autumn in New York, one of Amsterdam Whitney Gallery's greatest contemporary master artists, Ms. Freddie Cohn, F-R-E-D-I, Cohn. Freddie's work is marvelous, with turquoise, with nature, with resplendence, echoing the women's movement. She has designs, she has spirals, she has inner terrains, inner emotions, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you Miss Freddie Cohn.
Well, I'm basically a sculptor, but now what I've been doing is to combine a lot of other techniques and art forms with my sculpture to try to create harmony, and I'm calling this new series a visual orchestra series. So it was basically born out of my wanting to have some resolution to all of the polarity that's going on in the world. So what I did was I used several different artistic techniques, and I'm trying to make them work together. I try to create compositions that work together to create like a harmonious symphony, like the different instruments in an orchestra all sound different, and they're not, but when they cooperate and when they listen to one another and they work together, you know, this is my way of curing what's going on, all of this, you know, arguing. It's too disturbing. This arguing is too disturbing. So, I'm trying to make a symphony.
A beautiful symphony. Over here?
Yep. Yes. This is called Open to Life, and it uses several different media forms. Sculpture is my primary medium, but this has several different drawing techniques, sculpture, various printing techniques, and you know, it seems very harmonious to me. And this is called Peacock Seductress. So I use several different feminine forms, sort of subliminal feminine forms, a lot in my sculptures. And here I've blended, this is called Happy Dream Sonata, and here I've blended several different techniques and different forms. And this is called Owning Beauty. This is a bronze piece, and this is from a different series, but it's all part of the same basic theme.
Kristal, it is my honor to introduce the Spanish-German artist, Mr. Alfredo Laporta, and his adorable daughter, Nina, Mademoiselle Nina. Hello, hola. And if you can observe, Alfredo, in my opinion, carries on the Cubist tradition and legacy of Picasso with his wonderful, wonderful artwork that is behind us. And Alfredo Laporta can tell you a little bit about each canvas. Thank you, Kristal, for honoring Alfredo Laporta.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. I am Alfredo Laporta, and I want to introduce you my daughter, Nina Laporta. And here my three words. And my art talk about people, man, woman, separate or together, and the more important thing in life, love. Here we have the woman representation, ancient woman, the essence of the woman, naked, with the basic things, beauty, the figure naked, and just a little dress enough to be comfort. And here we have the man representation, the essence of the man, like an ancient man. The things that we are in connection between the ancient man and the modern man, the essence. Like the woman naked, sorry my English, and with the food to provide. And they're both together. And they're both together without nothing else but than they self naked, making maybe love.
Kristal, if you'll observe, this is, to me, a self-portrait of Alfredo Laporta. You can see his face, you can see his eye, and it renders so well the tactility. I'm always marveling. I can feel the beard. I can almost feel the bristle of the beard. Yes, I think it's so brilliantly done. So I just wanted to call that to our attention as we revel in the beautiful artwork of Alfredo. Thank you. Kristal, I'm delighted to introduce to you the Haitian-American artist and architect, Mr. Hudson Bruni, whose colorful, chromatic work is right behind me. Hudson, would you care to say bonjour?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. This is wonderful. Hudson has created these wonderful, non-objective, abstract works of art that configure an inner vision of the world with joy, with chromacity, with beautiful colors. They're kaleidoscopic. They reflect the joy of the universe and Hudson's deep heart soul. And we are honored to feature this contemporary master, Mr. Hudson Bruni.
It is a pleasure for me to be in that beautiful gallery in Manhattan to represent my painting. I like that moment. I like this moment. I think I wish that I will be in this gallery for a long time.
With us is Kathleen Stanley, and you came all the way from your way to West Coast artist?
Yes, Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. And with us, did you say this is Queen
Medusa.
Queen Medusa. Okay, now tell me, how did you get the idea to paint Queen Medusa?
Well, actually, back about 13 years ago, I entered a women's spirituality program, and Queen Medusa was appearing in my paintings. And so this is one of the paintings that I did of Queen Medusa. She's inspired, of course, many artists and poets and writers, stemming back from her origin as a Greek myth from many, many years ago.
Tell us about the myth, because I'm not sure who she is or...
Well, the myth is recorded by Homer and Ovid and other artists in, thousands of years ago. And the myth is that Queen Medusa, well, she wasn't a queen back then, but she was a figure who, the notable thing about her was that her head, she was beheaded by Perseus because she had lain in the temple of Athena with the god Poseidon. And that's the myth. But what's interesting about about Medusa is that she's sort of a figure that, to me, has inspired women to reclaim their voice and to reclaim their identity, because her story kind of takes part at a time when women's identity and voices were being taken away by patriarchal forces. And so one of the things that I did in my studies in women's spirituality was I helped to create a ritual where we reattached her head.
Oh, Okay.
And it was a very empowering ritual for the women who took part because it was a metaphor for taking back our voices and for taking back our identity.
With us, all the way from France, and this is an international show, Pierre Geist, and he has sculptures, wall hangings behind me. Will you tell the audience?
Well, I'm very pleased to be in New York anyway. I'm an artist, performer, sculptor, and painter. Okay, I came from south of France, which is called Aix-en-Provence. Don't know if you know. My work is based on rhythm, only rhythm, because I think rhythm is just consubstantial to our life. Okay, so the origin of rhythm. It's mainly a performance I did with a djembe and light everywhere. And the rhythm, it's not only based on our life, but when we breathe, when we walk, everywhere, it's everywhere. It's for this reason I was interested by rhythm. And it's not only rhythm, but it's rhythm with the complicity of the line. So because the line could rest sometimes, could hope sometimes, and like Signac or Kandinsky, they usually said about the line, it's energy, it's force, you know, and we are. Our body, our mind are still full of energy. Is it something static? When you look at a picture, for example, you see something static. And which is quite interesting, the transfer can come from something static to something emotional. So you feel something when you see something.
Kristal, we are going to say bonjour to our French-Canadian artist, Ma Annie. It's her nom d'artiste, Ma Annie, whose beautiful feminine work is right behind us. May I pass the microphone to our wonderful artist, Ma Annie.
This one is called Foil. It's the name of the fabric. The series is called The Dress, so it's all about dress, but it's also about women. And I paint those women because it's a way for me to get in touch with my own femininity. And I think that when we see beautiful, strong, like proud women, it's easier for us to become that afterwards. And I paint with a technique that uses tape. So every little zone of color has been taped, and then I put at least 5 coats of paint because I like when the paint is solid and flat, and then I take the tape away and I do another little zone of color. So it takes at least 150 hours of work to do one painting, but painting is what I like to do most in my life, so I like it that it takes a long time to paint my painting. This one is called Polka Dot because I have This one is called Giraffe, and I like this one a lot because I'm a giraffe and she has giraffe on her dress. And this one is called Ruffle, but Miss Ruthie calls her Frou-Frou, Frou-Frou in French.
Now, this is sort of interesting. We have a French artist here, and one of our guests speaks French, and so he is now going to take over this interview.
Je m'appelle Roderick Owen et je suis sculpteur d'escarpins contemporains en fer forgé.
Okay, so you do forged steel, high heels. Can you tell me a bit about your work?
J'aime beaucoup créer des escarpins élégants, très élégants.
Okay.
Très élégant.
Okay, so I like to make elegant high heels.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about your work?
Je travaille l'acier, car c'est un matériau éternel.
Okay.
Éternel.
Okay, I like to work with forged steel because it's a very strong and eternal material. So the story of this high heel
Raconte un homme qui perd sa femme.
So it's a story about a man who loses his wife.
Cette partie-là,
So this part,
avec les glaçons et le verre.
with the ice and the glass,
Whisky.
whiskey glass. So these ice cubes in blue represent the tears of the man who lost his wife. And the high heel represents the woman he lost, whose dream was to come to New York. So we can see New York here, yep, okay.
Kristal, we are so proud to have an internationalist view of New York to also inaugurate with champagne kisses and caviar hugs Miss Yvonne Gallagher, who is in from Australia.
Sydney, Australia.
Australia. And when did you arrive?
This morning.
Yes,
Just
you
flew.
look gorgeous. Not jet lag. And we are so thrilled. I think Kristal's beauty radiates on you. And Yvonne Gallagher's art are the skyline of New York City. As I say, reach for the stars. Her paintbrush is neo-impressionist with the blue colors, and we have Harlem Harmony. Tell us a little bit about Harlem Harmony.
Yes, sure. So my artwork, people have said that it's a modern twist of Impressionism on Claude Monet. So you can see that I use blue to capture the sky. It's such a versatile color. It can capture everything from the sky to the sea. And it's a color that invokes tranquility and a sense of calmness in me. And I hope that's what the viewer can feel when they look at the artwork. My artwork is inspired by my travel. So I capture the iconic views and the feeling of nostalgia that I get when I visit new places. As you get new experiences, you want to capture that in your artwork, and that's what I try to do with my painting. So that's the view of Manhattan when you're on the ferry. My artwork tends to have a lot of blues in front of me because I love paddleboarding, I love swimming, I love sailing, I love going on the ferry, I love being close to the ocean. So the view of the artwork, you will always see the ocean in front of you, and then the landscape of the building, the cityscape or the architecture behind it. These two here, Blue Jazz, they are actually not New York, but of northern beaches where I live in Sydney, Australia. So I call this urban oasis.
God bless, be well. Come down and visit us here at 210 11th Avenue, our 23rd anniversary, Amsterdam Whitney Gallery. We love you and thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.